Welcome one, welcome all to Pit Road Productions. For the next round of the No Limit Racing Late Models League, we're here at Fairbury Speedway, one of the tightest dirt ovals on iRacing, and some very interesting characteristics to this circuit, where we're sure to see some exciting racing. There's a bit of a variance in the field tonight. Our championship leader, Jackson Whittington, is absent, so there's a big chance for some huge points for everyone else involved in the field, and a few new drivers coming in as well. I'm Rhys Gardner, Daniel Zippy Salmon to my right. Yes, that's my right. Feeling a little bit under the weather though today, Zippy, so we're only going to hear from you a little tonight.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a bit of peace and quiet for these people watching there. And don't get me wrong, Barry White is going to send me an infringement notice for having a voice just as sexy as his. But ladies and gentlemen, if you're enjoying this at home, you're welcome. But Rhys, definitely it's good to see some new drivers here today. Just looking through the roster right now, Michael Lonas appears to be a new driver. Nick Rhys as well. As I have a look a bit further down, Douglas Rockwell. So definitely a great turnout indeed. 13 drivers here present today. But Rhys, let's take a look at the schedule before heading over to the championship battle. It's been getting really exciting.
Yeah, of course. We started the season back at the beginning of March at Lanier. We went to Charlotte, Cedar Lake, and the mid-season championship at Eldora. Volusia was the previous round of the series, and well, Eldora and Volusia, they're longer dirt ovals, so they provided quite a bit of space for the drivers to really have some high-speed action. Fairbury is a bit more of a bull ring, more like Cedar Lake, so there's certainly going to be some interesting racing here as they try to find space. Lernerville, Knoxville, and Lucas Oil Speedway will round out the season more towards the end of May, and they'll be weekly from here on Pit Road Productions. So make sure to mark those dates in your calendar and get things ready for the viewage. Jackson Whittington working his way up to a very solid championship lead. Dustin Regan, though, starting to gain a bit on him there in second place, with William Kirk only another 5 points behind. With Mike Henderson and James Dorr rounding out the top 5. Only 10 points separating Dorr from Jared Miller. And from there on, it's a very solid set of drivers. Feeney, Wilson, Hommel, Hall, Worthington, Dustin Hall, and Ryan Gillett. They were only here for the first round, though, I believe, and they haven't thus far gotten too many points. Checkered flag flying in practice, and as I mentioned, Jackson Whittington is not here tonight. He was called away for a real-life commitment, so we're going to see what the likes of Henderson, Miller, William Kirk, Feeney, Hommel, Dustin Regan, whether or not they'll be able to fight amongst each other without Whittington present.
Well, certainly it is going to be a fun battle indeed, Rhys. Certainly, I've been enjoying this more and more every week. As we see, that looks like a new paint there for Kenneth Feeney. A fan of the confectionery this week with the M&M's car, indeed, as he's currently on his outlap. Good to see him back here, but let's give a warm welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Douglas Rockwell, the Illinois driver. He's one of the new people here on the roster. We'll have to see what he can deliver. Going off iRating, certainly he's not the highest stacked guy in the grid, but certainly that has not stopped a few people. Actually, this guy comes to mind as well, Mr. Dustin Regan. He's been quite potent as well. Another look at one of the new drivers, Nick Rhys. He's packing about a 1700 iRating, so should be quite potent in this grid.
Yes, indeed. We'll have to wait and see what kind of times he can set down here in the qualifying session. You can see they are running the high line here at Fairbury. I mentioned this is an interesting track. It's flat down the bottom, but it's quite heavily banked right up the top. It's sort of a bowl shape, like some of the reconfigured NASCAR ovals of the last 20 years. But this provides some fantastic racing. It means you can rip the top and ride the wall to get the fastest line around here. It also means that the top is going to be used quite often early on, and well, as the night goes on, I think the bottom will certainly come into its own, but you're going to need a car that's good down low, that rotates nicely in order to be successful there. Looks like provisional fastest time in qualifying being Michael Lonis, another one of the new drivers here today. Fantastic to see that we've had more drivers come into NLR, and I think there's going to be a few drivers getting that special referral from our sponsor P1 Sim Sports.
Well, that's definitely a good time to mention it. I was thinking the same thing. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you are indeed referred to this league, P1 Sim Sports is backing this, and a huge thanks to them. We'll have a little bit more on them a little bit later, but they will actually send you a personalized plaque as demonstrated there. I don't know why I'm rubbing my mouse over it. You can't see that, but I got to say, I've actually got one myself. I referred a driver, and Kevin from P1 Sim Sports was fantastic. He sent one out. It's got a Canadian flag and Zippy right next to it, and it's already bolted to the rig. Actually, for me, it was very good. It was bolted to the rig the same day it arrived, which is absolutely unheard of in terms of procrastination here at Pyro Productions.
Yeah, that's a very quick turnaround time, Zippy. Well, big thanks to P1 Sim Sports for their support of the No Limit Racing League. Also got 5-6 Graphics and Fusion Setup Shop on the sponsors list as well. Big thanks to them for their support, as it looks like we have the majority of our drivers done in qualifying. It seems like Daniel Worthington was unable to set any times in qualifying, so it looks like we're going to be running the rest of the session out. It's funny because I've been monitoring the InSim text chat. James Dorr, I think Jared Miller actually ran a 12.1 second lap. And Garrett Hommel says in the text chat, 12.1 WTF, and then Michael Lonis goes and takes the overall fastest time with an 11.8 second lap time. That is funny. What it means is, for the first of our heats tonight, we're going to have 3 heats for the first time here, Zippy. Michael Lonis is going to start alongside Thomas Hall on the front row of this first heat, with Kenneth Feeney and William Kirk on row 2. Daniel Worthington rounding out the 5 cars to take part here. This is going to be fun. We've got 1 heat of 5 cars and 2 heats of 4 before we get to our feature.
Well, definitely, it is a bit complicated for myself, but again, a huge thanks to some sponsors. Let's just give a quick shout out here to P1 Sim Sports. Rhys, if you want to do the honors.
Yeah, indeed. Of course, if you're looking for some great sim gear, P1 Sim Sports is the place to go. They supply high-end sim racing components and tailor-made sim racing rigs to casual users, esports sim racers, real-life race car drivers, and event organizers. Their state-of-the-art designs create an immersive, ergonomic, and realistic experience that focuses on driver comfort, engagement, and feedback, all critical if you want to be competitive. The unique approach helps create the ultimate experience for you, whether you're just getting started, want to grow over time, or have it all today. Check out P1 Sim Sports as we make our way around our formation laps here and find our way to the green flag. This is going to be an interesting one. Michael Lonis in the number 5 looking for a win on debut here potentially. So we'll see if this all works out for him. In the dark at Fairbury Speedway, green flag flies and we are away, and Lonis is already off to the best possible start. He's running the middle of the road there as they make their way around the first lap, side by side between William Kirk and Kenneth Feeney. Kirk trying his best to get the car rotated there, but it seems that he's unable to really get that rotation that he needs. And Fairbury is one of those tracks where you gotta get it sideways on the way in. There, that's more like it from Kenneth Feeney and William Kirk. They are going to bang doors there for the moment. Daniel Worthington at the back there is going to try and take advantage. The spitter side-by-side will work out okay for him. The car is straight up the top for Worthington, but too straight as he clips the wall. It's going to be 8 laps in these heats, so not much time to get your pace down. Remember, these races, they will give out points, but they aren't all that important in the grand scheme of things. Caution's out, though, because Daniel Worthington almost beaches it on one of the tyres down low.
That was definitely a little bit unfortunate there, Rhys. And I got to say, I was glad he was able to get it off of that little tyre there, but thankfully able to recover the car. And I've got to say a huge shout out to the organisers here at No Limit Racing. Mo doing a fantastic job at race control. And Barney, actually, he's come back from his unionised strike, and he is indeed waving the flag today.
Good to see. And he is waving the hell out of it. Look at him go. So Worthington taking a visit to pit lane there, and wondering if he will make it back out. I do believe that we have fast repairs in the feature. I'm not sure if fast repairs are in the heats, though. So Worthington, I think, just struggling to try and find his actual garage spot there. This isn't working out too well for him, but what I was going to mention is that the heat results, they end up deciding the grid for the feature. So if you have a bad heat, it's not going to be the end of the world. You're just going to be starting from the back. When it comes feature time, Worthington staying out of the heat as the green flag is back flying. Michael Lonis has been dominating this heat thus far, and he's only going to have 2.5 laps remaining here. Actually, 2 full stop, as Thomas Hall tries to chase him down here. They were running high in qualifying, running low in the heat here. And Kenneth Feeney managing to keep William Kirk at bay for now. Just a single lap remaining, white flag flies, and it looks like Michael Lonis is having a pretty perfect debut here at No Limit Racing. He is going to take the win in the first heat of the night. Thomas Hall finishes in second, with Kenneth Feeney rounding out the podium. William Kirk, the only other finisher here, as Daniel Worthington unfortunately had to retire a few laps from the end. So that's your results there. Lonis, Hall, Feeney, Kirk and Worthington. And we can move it straight on through to Heat 2. A 4-car grid for this one. James Dorr going to start on pole with Dustin Regan alongside. The second row, Mike Henderson and Douglas Rockwell. Nice and quick. Well, what this tells me is, Zippy, the likes of James Dorr, Justin Regan, Jared Miller, they've got some solid competition here. They may have lost Jackson Whittington tonight, but they've gained Michael Lonis, so I think there's going to be further frustration for them. Another guy we have to beat?
Well, certainly, I do wonder if they wish they'd been here a week sooner. They could have really capitalised on Jackson Whittington there. Certainly, somebody was able to get that $50 bounty and a 75 championship point boost, which certainly has definitely paid off very well. But I am noticing today, Rhys, it looks like a couple of drivers having a really hard time getting the car to slide. You see at the bottom, it's almost like it's bogging down a little bit. It's like it's finding too much grip. Maybe something you could expand on. Certainly, definitely out of my depth here today.
Yeah, well, I mean, you do need to slide a little bit in dirt racing in order to actually get a proper time down, especially at a track as tight as this one. So being able to get the rear end free and get the car rotating is so important. We'll see how James Dorr does with that as the green flag flies, solidly in the lead, but Mike Henderson trying to put Dustin Regan back to third. Regan's going to attack him again on the inside. Look at the rotation down low there from Regan. It was good in the mid corner, but yeah, you're right. It is bogging down off the corners here, and I think if you're stuck on the inside, if you can't actually widen the line out of the corners, then you're just going to fall back from the car bogging down. Revs so low here at Fairbury, but the 78 of James Dorr putting down a fantastic lead for the moment, and it seems like he's solidly the quickest guy out there. 12.1s all around, and the driver of Mike Henderson is the only one who's able to get near him here. Regan with the best lap of a 12.2, but he's hovering around the mid 12 seconds at the moment, and Douglas Rockwell has fallen off the back somewhat. It looks like he's having some trouble keeping the rear end in check there.
I can definitely understand that. I did try and drive these cars, and it was a very pitiful attempt, but certainly Rockwell fair play to him. You know what? It takes a set of stones to try and drive these cars, and I almost wonder, seeing these things bogged down a bit, you almost wonder, did they even need even more power? Certainly that's something to think about, but James Dorr is going to have to be very careful here as he's trying to make the move past lap traffic as he enters the white flag lap.
Now 1 lap to go. At a track that is merely 400 meters long. Looks like Dustin Regan and Douglas Rockwell battling to the line, but Dorr going to take victory here in Heat 2. Mike Henderson finishing in second, the number 33 of Dustin Regan rounding out the podium, with Douglas Rockwell coming home at the rear, unfortunately losing a lap to the rest of the field. So having some car trouble is Mr. Rockwell, but hopefully he'll be able to sort that out for the 35-lap feature to come. Heat 3 is on the cards now, and Jared Miller starting on pole, along with another one of the drivers who's new to the league tonight, Nick Rhys. Garrett Hommel and Ben Wilson will round out your 4-car grid for this third and final heat. And I would expect Miller to take the victory here. Just looking at the way the qualifying times went out, Jared Miller a 12.1 in qualifying. Nick Rhys could only manage a 12.5. Garrett Hommel 2/10 behind that, with Ben Wilson setting a 13.4 or thereabouts. So there's a clear pace advantage for Jared Miller here. Just have to wait and see if the others will be able to take advantage of any mistakes, because qualifying is one thing, racing is entirely another. It's a very wide track here at Fairbury Speedway, but the actual usable racetrack in certain circumstances can be a bit narrower. Let's see if Jared Miller can toe that fine line. And that's a bit too little rotation for Nick Rhys. He was unable to keep second place there, but may be able to fight his way back up to second if he plays his cards right. Just needs to keep the momentum going, keep the rotation in that car, but it's proving very difficult, hitting the wall a couple of times, and potentially he might have to settle for that 4th. Jared Miller out to an over 2-second lead over Nick Rhys and over Garrett Hommel and Ben Wilson, 0.7 of a second between those two. But 0.7 at Fairbury basically looks like that. It's still incredibly close.
I've got to say, I'm watching these cars, I'm seeing quite a bit of suspension travel at moments, so if you keep an eye on it, Rhys, maybe you'll see it as well. Certainly, I've seen it a couple of times, I think a bit more on the inside line. It's almost like they're getting a bounce. It's definitely unsettling the car, but Garrett Hummel doing a beautiful job there, just almost like grazing the wall there, as Jared Miller, he is out up in front. He was definitely your pick at the round. You see there, a little bit of a bounce there, huge bounce there. I do wonder if that's compromising his exit speeds for sure.
Yeah, I wonder too, but one thing I'm also noticing with Miller versus Hommel is Miller is running that low line the whole way around as there's contact between Nick Rhys and Ben Wilson, and Wilson sent to the back on the final lap here. And, well, that, I think, is going to just about sort it between those two. Jared Miller, apparently the only car out there, as it looks like he's taken the victory there. Ben Wilson finishing in 3rd place, and it looks like Nick Rhys retiring from the race there on the final lap, potentially wanting to basically give the position back up there to Ben Wilson. So those are your results from the final heat. Miller, Hommel, and Wilson are your podium, separated by 3 seconds. And we had the 4th place finisher of Nick Rhys, 1 lap down. And that's going to bring us straight into the feature. A very quick night here at Fairbury Speedway. And we have 13 cars getting ready to take to the start of the feature. Lonus is going to be on pole position with James Dorr in 2nd. Miller and Hall will be your 2nd row. Mike Henderson and Garrett Hommel 5th and 6th. The 4th row of the grid, Kenneth Feeney and Dustin Regan. Regan starting a bit lower down. He'll be wanting to work his way up. Ben Wilson and William Kirk rounding out your top 10 with Rockwell and Rhys, the 2 new drivers there in 11th and 12th. Daniel Worthington going to bring up the rear in lucky 13th.
Well, I've got to say, Rhys, that's the first time we've actually had to scroll the grid, and I've got to say, fantastic stuff. Certainly, I've enjoyed that one where we did the 50-lapper. Best racing we've seen yet in this series, but now we've got the most cars that we've ever seen at one time. So I got a feeling this is going to be a lot of fun. And I do have a wonder. I wonder if Nick Rhys, where he had a bit of a push to pass, I wonder if he was black flagged in that last round.
Yeah, potentially. That might well be what happened, because that does happen in other dirt leagues. The administrator will assign fault, give a black flag, and that'll result in an end of line for the heat. So as the field pulls away for their 2 formation laps, now we can set to figuring out how the feature is going to run here. 35 green flag laps scheduled for this one, and as I've been saying through the heats here, it's all about who can get the car rotated nicely, and it's the drivers up the front that have been able to do that. Michael Lonis on debut here, looking for victory. When Jackson Winnington returns, it'll be interesting to see how these two match up. The green flag flies, and we are ready for the feature here at Fairbury.
Oh.
But the caution is immediately out. What on earth has happened there? Looks like a crash, and Nick Rhys down to the infield. It actually looks like Rhys missed the start. So...
Oh, yeah, he got rear-ended by Ben Wilson.
Yeah, Kenneth Feeney and Ben Wilson coming together there. And that's what brought out the caution, and looks like one of our cars losing the rear wing assembly. There's a replay of the start, and okay, right. So a couple other cars involved in that one. I see the 33 of Dustin Regan was involved as well. So we shall see if all of them manage to recover. It was William Kirk who ended up losing the rear wing in car number 27. So maybe that'll be a benefit here at Fairbury. Maybe get a little bit more rotation on the car.
Oh dear.
Caution end has been postponed, but yeah, that looks like pretty heavy damage to the rear.
It's mullered, Rhys. Mullered.
Well,
I don't know.
I don't.
So that phrase. Oh, go ahead, Rhys. Go ahead, by all means.
I was going to say I don't see a mechanical black flag, so maybe it'll be good for him. Go on.
I was going to say mullered is a phrase in the UK. I'm not even sure where it comes from. It's based off some yogurt, where you get yogurt and fruit, and then you kind of fold over the fruit into the yogurt and mix it. And I don't no idea why mullered means. It's basically like busted. No idea, but certainly a phrase. Ladies and gentlemen, a bit of a British education for you as we're getting under green flag conditions once again.
Probably a reference to being all mixed up and messy. Well, William Kirk will keep it going there as the feature gets back going. Ben Wilson trying to find some lines down low. Second place being covered by James Dorr as Thomas Hall tries to regain on him. And this is going to be an interesting one for sure. The 91 is trying his best to stay in touch with the leader. James Dorr and Jared Miller will be fighting very hard over these positions. Miller actually up in front, it looks like. Something happening to Michael Lonis there. He's fallen all the way down to 12th. What on earth has gone on for our pole sitter?
It's telling me that he had a crash. We'll take a quick look and see what happened, but I got a feeling something's going on with timing and scoring right now.
Yeah, it looks like it. So we'll yeah, that's very interesting because Jared Miller is classed as P1 there, and
yellow.
I mean, yep, yellow again. Potentially that's another. Maybe a competition caution, potentially. I'm not too sure. Nick Rhys down the bottom here. I mean, he was slow, but still making his way around the track, but coming together a little bit with another car up the top. Lonis moving up the field here, and looks like getting black flags cleared for William Kirk. The problem with such short tracks here is that sometimes when manual cautions come out, the pace truck picks up the wrong car. So I think there's been a little bit of confusion regarding that.
Well, I'm definitely confused, Rhys. Certainly Michael Lomas appears to be in the lead as far as I could tell, but from what I've seen on the grid, that's Jared Miller out in front. Certainly I didn't see anything happen to him. Nick Rhys, I think he's just been able to unlap himself potentially. He's now been flagged at the back of the pack, so not quite sure what's happening there. Michael Lonas now back at the front. I think we may be back in order now. Certainly the iRacing timing having a little bit of a hard time, but here you can see he is ahead of the pace truck, so I'm interested to see how that's going to work out.
Yeah, so he's this is interesting. This is really interesting. So Lona's falling behind the. Oh, here we go. He's been given the wave around, I think. I'm honestly not sure what's going on here, because like he won't be able to be waved around the pace car again, because that'll put him a lap ahead of the rest of the field. So I think Mo Auna, our admin, is basically having steam coming out of his ears at the moment with all of the behind-the-scenes work that he's having to do here. Lonas does go round to the front of the field there. So on the broadcast, he is classed as P1. In sim, though, it looks to me like Jared Miller still classed in the lead of the race. But well, we'll see. We'll see how all of this works out. Hopefully, we can get off to an orderly restart here to begin lap 9 of 35. Lonas is going to lead us away. The green flag flies, and Lonas is classed back in front. So whatever issues we were having there, they have been sorted, and now we can get back to racing. Miller up high. He is getting the momentum out of the corners over James Dorr, but Dorr taking the geometric low line and staying ahead. It is a question of grip down low versus speed up high, and it looks like neither of them winning the battle as the caution's been thrown again. That is Douglas Rockwell, who's gone around.
Let's find out exactly what happened to Rockwell. So you can see there he's on his own at the minute. Just gets probably just gets a little bit loose, and honestly, understandably so. Like, I cannot drive these things. It's a lot harder than it looks. Spins around. But fair play to him. There's another incident further ahead with Ben Wilson there. Let's see if I can pick that one up.
Rockwell, it seems, caught the slick on the way into the turns there. Ben Wilson and that is what other car is that? I'm switching around to it. William Kirk.
So there was a collision there with Feeney, Wilson, and then that's another car getting involved there. Trying to get a good read on the number. I believe that may have been Dustin Regan. Nope. Tells me he crashed as well. Oh dear. Oh dear. Look at the right front wing. Right front fender.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the front right's sticking out there. And it looks like that damage actually happened before that incident. So, oh dear. It's turning out to be a bit of a chaotic run here at Fairbury.
It's a full-on bloodbath, Rhys.
Yeah, that's what tends to happen at this place. Well, we're back to live and getting ready for the restart here. We'll find our way to full throttle as Michael Lonas leads us away again to begin the 12th lap of the running, and the battle for second will resume between Jared Miller and James Dorr. Battle for third between Henderson and Hommel, as well as the rest of the field tries to sort themselves out. Oh, dearie me. They both managed to keep it going and off the racetrack. So Daniel Worthington, it looks like, stuck on the infield. The caution's been brought out again. And Dustin Regan falling all the way down to 13th. He's going to jump into the pits and get a fast repair. Oh, dear. Yeah, looks like he was already carrying that damage, and it was just compounded with that contact with Worthington.
Definitely easily done. Certainly, I mean, we never practice driving with a damaged car, because at the end of the day, you're better off avoiding it. But Worthington, he sat there in the pits, not what he had in mind. But I've got to say, definitely a few yellows out. But when you get a grid of this size, it's certainly to be expected. despite the fact that these guys, you know, they're going sideways at like 100 mile an hour around like a, what was it, half a mile circuit at best. Things are going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. The average speeds around Fairbury are a little bit lower than that. Let me just, while we're under caution, let me just get the old calculator out, and I will calculate the average speed of the fastest lap of the race. So, 12.158 from Michael Lonis. If we go 400 meters divided by... I have completely forgotten how to do an average speed calculation.
Don't look at me, bud. The Zippy map is not renowned for accuracy.
No. Oh, dear. Oh,
Google
dear.
is your friend. Google is your
yes.
friend. Or Bing if you really want to, you know, upset people.
Well, it's 33 meters per second is the average lap time there. If we were running meters per second in terms of average speed, then that would be one thing. But we want miles per hour or kilometers per hour.
Oh, we'll holster that idea for the minute, because let's be real, I am not running anywhere right now. But it looks like Michael Lone is getting ready to restart us once again. A lap 13 of 35 as we go green.
All right, Michael Lonis immediately down to the inside to protect from everybody else, but look at the ripping at the top there from the 70 of Jared Miller. He is going to have a massive run at the lead here. He's been trying to build this up from the moment we first went green, but he is under attack from James Dorr, from Mike Henderson, Garrett Hommel down low as well, and the green and black machine fighting with the likes of Mike Henderson coming together at the back. Douglas Rockwell and it looks like Dustin Regan have had a problem there. Regan has lost the rear wing assembly of his car, and the 217 is around, or at least the car that had 217 on the livery. Douglas Rockwell, with a spin. Coming into turns 1 and 2. That was a consequence of the contact with Dustin Regan, and well, he just went a bit too hard into the corner. Regan got him, and you could see there was a bit of crabbing on the car. He stopped on the circuit. Still is Douglas Rockwell. No, my apologies. I was on replay. He's back rolling again. So fortunately, we've managed to find ourselves still with all cars running, but plenty of dramas in the midfield and up the back.
Oh, absolutely. I'm going to try and find a override here for the driver number if I can. I felt sure there is one somewhere. Certainly these guys are running custom paints, but until then we're definitely going to have to wing it a little bit here. Rhys?
That's okay. We can still tell who's who on our timing screen, and he's hoping that we can get a nice solid green flag run going this time. The drivers up the front are being nice and clean, but the drivers at the rear checking up and making contact under caution as we come to the green flag. Lonis immediately right out sideways once again. And he's running super well at the moment. Lonis is playing this perfectly, as it looks like Jared Miller finally clear of James Dorr there, and Dorr switching up high too. They're all trying to get that extra momentum up the top to try and catch up to Michael Lonis, but Lonis is responding nicely too. Got up to speed, and they're only getting a few laps of racing in at a time. It looks like Kenneth Feeney's gone around.
Definitely a few drivers having a little bit of bad luck tonight. Let's find out exactly what happened here to Kenneth Feeney.
Into the corner a bit too hard here, and he lost mid-corner momentum, and well, a bit too straight there for the 00 of Ben Wilson. Collected him, and out came the pace truck instantly.
I gotta say, the pace truck popping a bit of a wheelie there, very aggressive to get out on in front of the field.
Yeah, it's a very powerful truck, apparently, and they're certainly getting their money's worth here, getting it used. I can't even remember how many cautions have been thrown thus far. I'm counting, I think maybe 6 or 7 cautions so far, which means we're only getting racing in very short bursts, and that means that no one's really able to mount a proper attack on Michael Lonis here. I'm sure he's liking the fact that the cautions are coming out as quick as they are.
Certainly, it gives them a little bit of a breather. Myself, I honestly would enjoy having cautions, but here we go. We are live again. And this time, Lonis going for the lower line as Miller goes up high. You see James Dorr, he's having a very good night so far. Mike Henderson and Garrett Hummel not yet been able to capitalize on that. Certainly, Nick Rhys, he's managed to move himself up 6 positions in this grid so far as he's brushing the wall with Garrett Hummel alongside.
Yeah, he's got a black flag, has Nick Rhys, though. Apparently, a mix-up under caution, and Mo will have to clear that one. Managed to do it for Kenneth Feeney, but not sure about Rhys as we find our way through to the 23rd, coming on to 24th lap. Lonis running into the wall there to get as much pace as he possibly can. The bowl shape of this circuit really benefiting the late model. It enjoys running up high and ramping off of that top line, but you can see how slick it's getting on entry here. There's barely any grip available, and you basically have to feed the right rear into the barrier in order to get the best grip. Caution back out once again. Whoa. And okay, a little bit of contact there with the pace truck. I'm not sure what exactly brought that caution out. Looks like it was an automatic iRacing caution.
Yeah, I got nothing flagging here, but Douglas Rockwell did take a little bit of a stop there and is now towed to the pits. Not entirely sure what happened there, but fair play, another caution has come out with 10 laps to go. I think the pace truck's going to get more kilometers on it or more miles on it than I've been doing on my car some days, but that's more of a judgment on me, ladies and gentlemen. If you exclude this past weekend, where I did actually do 400 kilometers each way, which is about, hang on a second here, so 100 miles is 160, 200 miles would be 320, so about 250 miles, we'll say, there and back. So yeah, I did some driving this weekend, but certainly I don't think he's in that kind of territory, but definitely not been on the move too much. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you worked out, I definitely don't get out much.
Well, a lap around this track is a quarter of a mile, so it's going to have to be quite a few laps around Fairbury to reach 250. Michael Lonis leads us away on yet another restart here, and they're 2 by 3 almost for the remaining positions in the top 10. This is insane racing. Look at the ripping of the top from our top 3, as well as Mike Henderson in the 313, the white car, coming together almost with Nick Rhys there. And Rhys is trying his best to hold on, but he's a bit too sideways, straightens it up nicely. Thomas Hall unable to take advantage of that little minor incident for the blue and yellow machine. Hall has shown some incredible pace at various tracks in this series, but can't take advantage of Fairbury, as it looks like that was a problem for the double O potentially of Ben Wilson, who almost fully stopped on the circuit.
Let's have a quick look here, Rhys, find out what happened. I think that's Dustin Regan behind him. Gets a little bit of a nudge.
Okay, I don't think that's what brought out the caution. It was Daniel Worthington, actually, and William Kirk. So Kirk was trying to come down here on Worthington, and there was a little bit of contact between them. Sideways in the middle of the corner, but 2 sideways. William Kirk came steaming through, and Daniel Worthington suffers another spin at the back.
Oh, definitely. This might look easy, ladies and gentlemen, but I can promise you it's not. As a guy who has real-life rallycross experience, not only that, has won trophies for rallycross. I'm not going to blow my horn too much. I've already got one in my throat right now. Make all the jokes you want. It's fair play. It's Rip Zippy anew one day, by all means. Rhys, I've got to be honest, you can really send it a little bit harder if you want it, by all means. But certainly, I can appreciate just how difficult it is to drive these cars. 700 horsepower on dirt is quite the challenge, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, it certainly is. These are the pro late models, so they're sort of the mid spec of late model here, still producing an incredible amount of power from those carbureted V8 engines. You can see the carburetor sticking out the top of the bonnet there. These are certainly some old school dirt racing cars, but away we go for the restart and bring us on to the final 6 laps of this race. Oh, it's getting close here for second. Oh, almost a coming together there between Jared Miller and James Storr. Have a look at Nick Rhys sweeping through to second place. That was a perfectly executed move there, but it's all come together further back. Oh my God. Kenneth Feeney.
No!
All the confusion spat out. Oh dear. Reversing back onto the circuit, and that's collected the number 70 of Jared Miller. Well, Miller's going to pop into the pits and grab a fast repair and get back into the race. I don't want to know how many fast repairs have been taken here.
It's fair to say there's been a few. Let's try and see a quick replay of what happens. So there's Jared Miller up high. He's got a little bit of a nudge there. Coming back down low. I think that's what triggered the yellow. Kenneth Feeney comes out. I wonder if Worthington triggered the yellow here. I'm trying to find the incident.
Yeah, well, it was, it looks like Mo actually threw the yellow himself. I think Worthington, yeah, coming into all that cluster, and then, yeah, he was at right angles to the racetrack, and in regular racing, that would almost certainly bring out a yellow if a car was at right angles to the racing line or more, and looking like it was going to come to a complete stop. But here we go again through the final corner. It looks like a single file restart for this one to bring us to the end of the race. And tell you what, Nick Rhys finally working something out in this car. He's been having issues all night long after starting 12th in the feature. Now he has a chance of potentially taking the win off Michael Lonas if he manages to get this all together over the last few laps. William Kirk with a big incident and massive damage to his car further back, but our leaders will continue on. Kirk pulling off there to allow the race to come to its end here. Coming on to the final lap of this race. This is going to be a huge win on debut for Michael Lonas, and Nick Rhys coming home in second place would certainly be massive for him. He still has to defend from James Storr. Is there anything that the number 78 can do? Fling it up the inside. There's the move. Big rotation, but the outside wins. Michael Lonas is going to win, but hello, that's James Storr who actually gets through to second spot.
What an ending. What an ending. I gotta say, that was fantastic. Let's watch that again.
Yeah, so Nick Rhys, he was solid in second, but it looks like he ran it a bit too high, and he actually collected the wall up top, which became the sort of pit lane re-entry wall, and that ruined his momentum enough for James Storr to sweep through and take second with just a few meters to go to the line. There's a view on board from Storr. You'll see the wall hit come up very shortly here. Tip it in. Keep an eye on the number 19. This is a couple of laps before.
It's the only reference I could find at this point, but just why not, right? We got some time.
Yeah, we have. Okay, so that's not the final lap. I believe next lap might be the final one. You can already see hints of what happened to Rhys there as he tried his best to keep it going here, struggling to keep the car consistent up the top. He was soaring away at the wheel, and right here is where it happens, the move, and then up into the wall for the 19, and that is where James Storr took second place.
I gotta admit, what an absolutely fantastic race that was, Rhys.
Yeah, that was a good race. Really happy to see it go off there with an exciting finish. Michael Lonas winning on debut at No Limit Racing with James Storr and Nick Rhys rounding out your podium. Great debut for Rhys as well. Garrett Hommel and Mike Henderson will round out your top 5 with Thomas Hall coming home in 6th ahead of Dustin Regan. Daniel Worthington ran at the back for a lot of that race, but manages to get an 8th out of it, which is certainly a lot better than he would have expected. Jared Miller, Ben Wilson, Kenneth Feeney, your last. Well, unfortunately, did not make it to the finish. Well, with all of that, it is time for our driver interview, Zippy, and well, I'm ready to talk to whoever. You can bring in whoever you want, and it's going to be our winner, Michael Lonis, with us here. Michael, your first time at NLR and winning on debut. You must be happy with how that went.
Yeah, not bad, huh? Not bad, mate.
For sure. Fairbury is always a difficult one. It's a tight little bull ring, and it's very difficult to actually get consistent laps going around here. Especially when the track is fresh, the car tends to bog down. Were you finding that?
Yeah, I've got so many laps here. This is one of my favorite tracks, and yeah, I mean, the track, you just really got to learn how to drive those tires when it's tacky like that, and then you got to learn how to drive the wall when it gets slick. So yeah, definitely gets bogged down, especially in these fixed setup cars. I run a lot of open set, so we just gear the car up high enough to where it don't get a chance to bog. But yeah, you definitely see it in these fixed sets.
Yeah, certainly. Well, you're obviously having a lot of fun out there with the win here on your debut in the series, and I'm sure we're expecting you to take part in the final rounds upcoming over the next few weeks. We've got Lernerville, I believe, next up on the schedule. At least through turns 1 and 2, you won't have to worry about that outside wall.
Yeah, Lernerville's my all-time favorite track, and Fairbury here is my second, so we should hopefully have a pretty good run in there next week. And then after that, I don't know how much more I can run with these guys just because of how early we run, but yeah, Lernerville definitely, it's up there. It's probably my favorite track on the sim.
Well, look forward to seeing you there next week, Michael, with 9 full course yellows in this event. You certainly had to work for that victory. Anyone you want to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, I gotta thank Longhorn Amusements, DJ Directional Services, Ghost Energy coming on with me, True Form, BCR, Sim Products. Check them out on Facebook. iRace and Dirt Memes, Dice Race Designs, High Point Firearms, Turn 2 Photography, and appreciate Mo letting me run, and Dustin Reagan for helping me get in here and enjoy it. Congrats to everybody else, and thanks for having me. Appreciate you guys broadcasting it.
No worries. Michael Lonis, your feature winner here tonight at Fairbury Speedway. Next up, looks like we're going to be having a chat to our second place finisher, James Dorr. Honestly, James, it looked like with that massive run from Nick in the final laps, you were going to settle for third, but on the run to the line, everything changed.
Yeah, it was fun, man. That track was very fun. I was looking forward to that race. Took that second. I mean, that's a nasty taste, man. I can't get that out of my mouth. I've had every race except for Eldora. So what is that? This is round 6. So what, 5 second place finishes? So, or something like that, I think. No, 4. So yeah, it's very nasty taste. We're gonna get that out of my mouth next week. I will win at Lernerville. You can count on that.
All right, I like that. I like that attitude. Yeah, it's going to be a tough one next week. You know, not only do we have no wall to speak of up the top of turns 1 and 2, but there's also I guess an extra little berm around the outside on the final corner. So it's a track that really requires your maximum concentration and a real strategy to get around.
Yeah, the top side, you know, it kind of honestly pushes you down, so I'm not too worried about it. I mean, y'all thought why am I saying Lernerville? Cedar Lake was going to be difficult with them top corners. No, this will be definitely the hardest track on the schedule for sure.
I'm looking forward to it just as much as you are, James. Well, let's see if you end up getting that win at Lernerville next week. Before we let you go, anyone you want to shout out?
No, nobody. No, I have no friends.
All right, fair enough. Your best friend is Lernerville. James Dorr there, second place here at Fairbury Speedway, and we'll see you later, James. We'll move to our third place finisher and the most positions gained in the field at 9 spots up from nearly dead last, Nick Rhys. What a run from you in those final laps, Nick. Seemed to take you a bit to work the car out and make sure that you weren't bogging down or keeping the car a bit too straight through those corners. But once you worked it out, it looked magic.
Yeah, you're right. I was struggling to push. I was pushing a lot at the beginning. It's a new track for me. Just bought it today. Been out of dirt for a while, just got back in, so took a little bit to get a refresher, but figured things out and didn't go too bad after that.
Well, you're one of the new drivers to come in for this round, and we only have a few rounds to go. But considering the pace that you managed to set in those final stages, you must be keen to continue in this series.
Yeah, no, this was fun. I was really looking forward to finding that dirt league. Happy with my pace for tonight, and hopefully I can keep it up for the rest of the season.
Yeah, indeed. Lernerville, of course, being the next round in a week's time. But getting up to second before, unfortunately, getting the wall out of the final corner of the race. You should still be proud of the drive that you put on. Is there anyone you want to thank before we let you go?
I just want to give a big thanks to Mo for letting me in the league today. It was really last minute. He made it super easy. Ran a pretty good race tonight, so made it fun for all of us running.
Made it fun for us up here in the Pit Road Productions broadcast booth as well. Thanks very much for joining us, Nick, and we'll see you next week.
Yep, thank you.
And finally, we have our race administrator, Mo Auna, here with us. Mo, that was a bit of a chaotic event. It looked like some problems with the whole caution and who was ahead of the pace truck or not. Something that tends to happen with these shorter tracks, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely. They had me definitely earning my wage tonight. It was a little chaotic, at the beginning. We did have the newcomer, Nick. His iRacing decided to take a crap on him right at the beginning, right after the heat races. So we had to try to get him back in there and make sure he was on lead lap, and that kind of just threw everything out of whack after that. But definitely glad we got Nick back in there. I mean, a hell of a driver tonight, and I think with Jackson missing tonight, it definitely gave a lot of guys an opportunity to earn some points.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Those championship points are going to really close up coming into the next round at Lernerville. This round, though, had the most cars yet, with 13 drivers showing up here at Fairbury. So the league just keeps going from strength to strength.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's a work in progress, but I definitely couldn't do it without any of the sponsors. Everything that we have offered to give to these guys that are wanting to join and be a part of this. We couldn't do it without those guys, such as like 5-6 Graphics and Fusion Setup Shop, and the big one, P1, and without them guys, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing. And I know for the guys that are listening or watching, and the guys that might watch this a little later this week, P1 and I have already been in contact with each other, and we're definitely excited to get the next season kind of detailed and figured out, and kind of see what we're planning on doing. But I know we're extremely excited to get back into it.
Yeah, we're excited as well here at PRP. Well, Mo, big thanks for joining us. And, what are you expecting from Lernerville next week before we let you go?
I definitely don't think that the excitement has stopped yet. I think it's going to keep ramping up. Especially with Jackson missing tonight, it's definitely given a lot of guys the edge to compete really hard. I mean, it's not like they don't compete hard every day, or every night that we race. But with Jackson missing tonight, that opened up a really big can of worms on the points. And I think a lot of guys kind of figured out that throughout the season, you kind of learn about the drivers around you, and you kind of learn about how you can drive with them. And, we're a little ways past the middle of the season now. We're a week after, or 2 weeks past, and these guys know how they can drive with the other guys. And I think it's going to get a little bit more exciting. I'm definitely going to be working my controls a little bit more, trying to keep up with them.
Indeed. Well, looking forward to it, Mo. Thanks very much for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, thank you guys very much for everything. I know, Daniel, thank you. I know you made your presence on the stream tonight, and I know you're not feeling too well, but thank you guys back at Pit Road Productions very greatly.
And thank you for joining us, Mohammed Auna there, bringing us home, Zippy, to the end of the broadcast. Another successful round of the No Limit Racing League. And, Fairbury certainly turned it up. But I understand, you're very new to dirt racing. You've never seen Lernerville before. Boy, you're in for a treat.
Oh, certainly. You tell me this for certain tracks, and you have 100% been right on that. My favourite so far was that longer feature one we did. That was absolutely sublime. Absolutely sublime. And I'm loving the fact that the league's growing. A shout out to Mo as well. He's been an absolute pleasure to deal with, very prompt with the points. Shout out to Kevin as well, P1 Sim Sports. He's been an absolute pleasure as well. And a shout out to the drivers as well. They get as excited about this as we do, Rhys, and if not even more. I don't know. Your excitement's pretty hard to contend with. As soon as I told you we got a Dirt Oval League, you pretty much blew a gasket in the most beautiful fashion. That's exactly what I want to see. But Rhys, you know what? Do the honors, bud. I think Barry Wright is about ready to check it out.
Yeah, indeed. Leave it to Rhys Gardner to bring you home. Well, I am indeed Rhys Gardner. Daniel Zippy Salmon alongside me in the comms box and producing here on Pit Road Productions. Big thanks once again to P1 Sim Sports, Fusion Setup Shop, and everyone else involved in the organization and the running of the No Limit Racing League here. Fantastic round at Fairbury, but it's going to continue next week at Lernerville. Hope to see you there here on Pit Road Productions.